Hi, so today I'm going to be showing you how to install the FOCALBOARD project management system in the cloud on the AWS Lightsail service. So if you work in a large corporate environment or in a small office, or if you just work as an entrepreneur, chances are that you're going to be involved in many different types of projects within your work environment. And having a tool that will help you to manage all that work can be a very huge benefit. So I'm just going to be showing you how to set up a tool that can help you to be more productive. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to deploy an Linux Ubuntu instance on the AWS Lightsail service. So log into your Amazon account and open up the Lightsail web application. Once it opens up, click on the Create Instance button, click on OS Only, and choose the Ubuntu 20.04 instance type. Choose the $5 plan, and then we're going to set the name of the instance to FOCALBOARD-SERVER. So once you've done that, click on the Create Instance button. Okay, so what I now need you to do is to open up the Amazon Route 53 service, and we're going to create an A record that points to the instance that we've just deployed. So click on Hosted Zones, and when the Hosted Zones page opens up, click on any hosted zone for any one of your domains, and then click on the Create Record button. So once you click on Create Record, what I need you to do is to set your record name to the host name of the server. So in my case, it's going to be FOCALBOARD-SERVER, and then I'm then going to copy the public IP address for the instance and then paste it into the value field. Once you've done that, click on the Create Records button. So once this has been done, the next thing that we're going to do is to download the default Keypad file that actually allows us to connect to the instance. So click on the instance name and then scroll down and click on the download default key button. Go to your downloads directory and then rename the Keypad file to FOCALBOARD. I'm just going to rename it to FOCALBOARD, and then open up your command line application. In my case, I'm just going to be using the terminal application, but if you're using Windows, you're going to be using the PuTTY application. I'll also include a link in the video description that shows you how to connect to an instance if you are using a Windows-based computer. So if you're using a Mac or a Linux PC, the first thing that you need to do is to set the Keypad file to read only. So run the command chmod 400 and specify the file name for the Keypad file. Now run the command sshi focalboard.pem, type in the username at the IP address for the instance. So let me just copy the IP address and paste it into the terminal window. Okay, so just type in yes and press enter. So we've actually successfully connected to the instance. So what I'm going to do now is to change to the root user account, and then I'm just going to first run the command apt update. So this will just do a quick update of all the essential system applications and utilities. And once that's done, what we're going to do is to set a custom host name. So edit the etc host configuration file using nano, and there's an entry I need you to add. So you first type in 127.0.0.1 and then type in focalboard-server your domain name.com, and then at the end you just say FOCALBOARD-SERVER. So once you've actually done that, press Ctrl O, press enter, and then press Ctrl X. So that will then exit out of the host configuration file. And the next thing you need to do is run the command hostnamectl set hostname FOCALBOARD-SERVER. So once you've actually done this, you now need to then reboot the FOCALBOARD-SERVER by just running the command reboot. So once the server restarts, we're then going to download the FOCALBOARD project from GitHub, and we're going to install the Nginx open source web server. So there's a document that I've actually written up that will actually allow you to then quickly follow along this tutorial. So just click in the video description to actually download this document. So let me just change to my root user account. And then the first thing that we're going to do is to download FOCALBOARD from the GitHub website. So just copy that link and paste it into your terminal application. So we're using wget to do this download. And once that's done, the next thing that we're going to do is to extract the downloaded FOCALBOARD archive file. So I'm actually extracting now. And the next thing that we're going to do is to move the FOCALBOARD directory to the opt directory. So just copy and paste that command. And the next thing to do is to install a web server. So in this case, I'm just going to be using Nginx. But if you're deploying in a production environment, I recommend that you check out the Lightspeed web server. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a Nginx configuration file that tells Nginx where to find the FOCALBOARD application files. So just copy and paste that command, and then there's some configuration details that you need to type into this file. So I'm just copying those details, and then I need you to then paste them into that configuration file. And then just scroll to the top of the file, and then I need you to set the server name parameter to the host name for your FOCALBOARD server. So let me just make that change real quick, and then we should then be able to then complete the setup. So I've set the server name parameter, and the next thing to do is to just press Ctrl O and then press Ctrl X. Once you've done that, you need to then remove the default Nginx configuration file, and then that then allows the Nginx to use the FOCALBOARD configuration as the default site. So just copy and paste that command to then inform Nginx of the existence of the FOCALBOARD configuration file. And then after that, we then need to then do a Nginx configuration test. As you can see, it says system syntax is okay. And then the next thing to do is just to restart the Nginx system service. So just run the command systemctl restart Nginx. So the next thing that we're going to do is to install Postgresql. So just copy and paste that command to install Postgresql. Just type in Y and press enter. Once you've done that, run the command to log into the Postgres user account. So I'm just waiting for the download to complete, and then once the download is done, we're actually then going to then change to the Postgres user account. So it should be done right about now, and let's see, there you have it. So it's done. So let me just clear my screen, and then I'm then pasting that command to switch to the Postgres user account, and then run the command psql. So on the Postgres shell, run the command create database boards. So just copy and paste that command and press enter. The next command is to create a user. We're going to be creating a user called a board user, but you can change to whatever username you want and press enter. And then the next thing that we're going to do is to then create a FOCALBOARD-SERVICE file that actually makes sure that FOCALBOARD is always running and accessible. So just create that. Actually, before we do that, we need to edit the config.json file for the FOCALBOARD system. So we need to inform FOCALBOARD of how to connect to the PostgreSQL database. So we're just going to set the DB type to PostgreSQL. And then the DB config parameter, just copy the entries between the two quotation marks, and then remove that ./focalboard.db entry and paste in that entry. So once you've done that, you just need to make some changes depending on the username and password that you created. So just change out to your username and password. And once you've actually done that, I just need you to then press Ctrl O and press Ctrl X. Okay. So once you've done this, I now need you to then exit out of that file. And then the next thing that we're actually going to do is to create a FOCALBOARD.SERVICE file. So this file is what actually makes sure that FOCALBOARD is always running. So just copy and paste the command. And the next thing that you need to do is then copy that configuration and paste it into the command line interface FOCALBOARD.SERVICE file. So we've created that service file, and the next thing that we're going to do is to restart the system daemon. So just copy and paste that command, and the next thing that we're going to do is to actually start the FOCALBOARD.SERVICE system file. And then the next thing to do is to check the status of the service. And then once that's done, let me just try to load up the FOCALBOARD web page. So just type in your URL in the browser address bar and press enter. So when you press enter, you should see a page that looks like this. Okay, so it's telling us that something went wrong. So just click on login. Let me just try to log in using an admin account that I've created on the Ubuntu server. If that doesn't work, then I need you to click on create an account. Type in an email address, and a username, and a password, and then click on register. Okay, so we've registered a system user account, and there you have it. So this is the FOCALBOARD dashboard that you can actually start to use to create meeting agenda, to manage your tasks at work, and a whole lot of other things. So the next thing that we're going to do is to install a Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. So go back to the FOCALBOARD command line interface, and before we do that, we're actually going to enable the FOCALBOARD.SERVICE file to start up at system startup. So just run the command systemctl enable FOCALBOARD.SERVICE. And then the next thing that we're going to do is to install a Linux Ubuntu application called certbot. So certbot is an application that actually allows us to obtain a free Let's Encrypt SSL certificate from the Let's Encrypt organization. And then once that installation is done, what I need you to do is to then run the command sudo certbot Nginx. So the certbot utility will then start to then ask you a few questions. So you need to type in a valid email address. You also need to agree with the terms of service for Let's Encrypt, and you also need to specify if you're willing to receive marketing emails from Let's Encrypt. So just type in one or select the domain that you'd like to protect. And as you can see, the certbot utility is now requesting for a free Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. So I'm just going to set it to redirect all requests to HTTPS, and there you have it. So we've successfully deployed a Let's Encrypt SSL certificate on the server. So the next thing that we're going to do is to open up HTTPS port 443. So just make a change to the IPv4 file in your Amazon Lightsail instance to allow HTTPS traffic on port 443. And let's just test. So reload the FOCALBOARD web page, and as you can see, the connection has changed from not secure to secure. And as you can see, if you click on details there, you'll see it's actually a Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. So that's been it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this tutorial has been informative. I'd like to thank you for viewing.